started off in Barcelona with a 6th place and both car from the PSRX in the final, so we was very happy by then, but then of course we would like to do better.
It started off pretty good with 3 wins in a row, and after this everybody else woke up.
Getting a victory with the new car the first year was unbelievable. You know, and Lydon Hill at the same time. You know, the last race of the championship now. I'm very happy, very happy.
Our package is getting stronger and stronger for every weekend. So with 3 wins and team championship lead, and I'm leading the drivers' championship, it's been a little bit more comfortable with this year's car comparing to the Polo I drove last year. So this car basically suits my driving style a little bit better, and I can attack harder into the corner.
I couldn't dream more about getting this, you know, leading the championship for the teams. And also Johan leading the team championship and me second. You know, it was not actually something that we expected so quickly.
Let's take a look at Solberg's all-time stats. 98% of the time he's qualified for the semi-finals. He's progressed to the final 77% of the time, has a 52% podium rate, and he's won nearly a quarter of all events he's entered. That is why he is a double world champion.
We are still working hard. We're pushing the limit with everybody to get everything right.
We have been updating the cars a bit, so let's see if we can use that performance here in Canada.
I think the plan for the team is try scoring points without the big risks.
Here's our championship leader. 25 career finals for Kristoffersen, 14 podiums, the same as Ekstrom, and 5 wins, 3 of which have been this season. I'm sure there'll be many more to come.
I never take anything for granted. In Rallycross, everything can happen. And obviously, you know, 5 races to go. It's going to be very hard.
I think the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the championship will be really strong.
My focus is to win the Bing Trophy in Cape Town. Thank you.
As the teams make final preparations, let's take a look at the track. Canada, 4th year here for the World Rallycross Championship, 1,370 metres for the standard lap. It's one of the longest laps of the season. Clockwise, 60% asphalt and 40% dirt. We ride on board with Topi Heikkinen coming from the start, so effectively this left-hander is the first corner, but of course the first corner is really at the end of the straight. Flat out down here on the brakes, over towards the concrete wall on the left and then in towards the right. It's wide here, but it funnels down into turn 2, so watch for the cars getting into a line before they take this tight right-hander around the outside of the tyre bale, then down through another narrow section into another right and over the first of the jumps onto the dirt. Long left-hander off to your left there. That's the first of the dirt corners. We're taking the joke lap around the outside. The merge here could be very tight indeed. If you get it wrong, you end up in the wall on the left-hand side. Heikkinen having to make big steering inputs to get the car on the line he wants on the dirt. Through the right-hander, and this year, this left-hander is tighter than it was before. Look at that. Sends the car sideways out towards the barrier over the second jump, braking then on gravel. Watch out as it drops off a crest back onto the tarmac. The car can run wide easily. Concrete in the last right-hander. You have to be patient on the throttle, and you saw there the car go sideways as he crosses the paint on the curbs at the last corner, under the famous bridge and back into turn 1. Coming up, we've got highlights of the action from qualifying 1 and 2, the best of the action from qualifying 3, it's crunch time in Q4, only the top 12 qualify, the live World RX semi-finals, the first ever RX2 final outside Europe, then the biggest race of the weekend, the World RX final live. After torrential rain during both free practice sessions, the sun came out in time for Q1, meaning a drying track throughout the session and the potential for gambling on tyres. World Championship leader Johan Kristoffersen got a fantastic start in the first race of the day and immediately set about gapping the field. Rainis Nitish looked to be on for second place until he slowed on the final lap, causing a super close moment between Dubourg and Munich. Kristoffersen set an impressive Q1 benchmark at 3:38.0, but for the EKS squad, it will be a race against time in the garage to get Nitish back out for Q2.
I heard just crazy sound and something was gone, and yeah, we found that it's a prof shaft. It broke down, and it's a big hole in the body as well. It means everything what was around the prof shaft is gone now. Hopefully mechanics will fix it for Q2.
Current world champion Matthias Ekström got an incredible start in his race and led former champ Solberg throughout. Backerud looked quick in the focus, but slotted into third after the Joker, and when the flag fell, Kristoffersen's time still stood at the top. Race 3 showed how tricky the super-fast approach to Canada's Turn 1 can be. Scheider hit Hansen in the braking zone, causing a big moment for Timmy and handing Timo the lead. Hansen struck back at the first gravel corner, slotting the 208 up the inside. Teammate Loeb tried to follow, but wisely backed off as the wall loomed. Despite the drying track, conditions were still tricky. Timmers Yarnov hitting the tyre wall hard at the second jump, but managing to continue. Loeb got Scheider at the Joker, but still Kristoffersen led. But the underlying story was tyres. The final Q1 race saw some contact in the first few turns. Eriksson, Heikkinen and Baumanis were the first to try dries, and it worked. Eriksson set the fastest lap of the day so far, but Toppy, with his EKS Audi sporting the new low drag rear wing, finally knocked Kristoffersen off the top spot.
Big thanks to EKS team for Audi. You know, they put the brains together, and now we're standing on the P1, which is good. And it's still, you know, many heats to come, and we need to survive, and we still need to keep on working. And it was a good choice from the team.
On to Q2, and EKS had worked miracles to get Nitish to the line. So tight for time, they hadn't even had time to clean the car. Turn 2 saw contact between Chuchu and Demoustier, with the latter spinning off, while Timmers Yarnov made up for his off in Q1, taking the checkered flag. Timo Scheider and Kevin Hansen had minor contact on their high-speed run to the first corner and continued to fight hard all the way through their race. Hansen jokered first. They both pushed hard, and Scheider came out just in front at the merge to secure the win, with Hansen clipping the wall in his effort to beat him. Petter Solberg was up next and proved just how quick the track conditions have become, setting 3 fastest laps of the day and knocking a full 7 seconds off Scheider's time to take the lead in Q2. But behind him, carnage was unfolding. Hansen had seemingly broken a drive shaft off the line and as a result had a spin in the Joker, and Backward had an issue which saw him rotate and end up stranded on the racing line. Baumanis narrowly missed him, but Loeb didn't. Look at the replay, you can see the Frenchman had nowhere to go, having come over the second jump. He tries to take avoiding action, clips Backward's car and ends up spinning off himself. They all finished, but with huge time loss. On to the final day 1 race, and Solberg's teammate Kristoffersen showed why he's the current championship leader. He took the lead in turn 1 from a very hungry pack and then pushed like mad, setting the fastest lap of the day and taking the win in Q2 in the process.
Been working fantastic in dry, and then also in the wet this morning was really good, and we have improved the car on wet a lot, so big thanks to the team, and the cooperation together with Petter is working fantastic. So I mean, we see that all the other guys is also pushing very hard, that Audi have a completely new aero package and everything for this high-speed track, so to be quickest you really need to have both hands on the wheels.
Johan Kristoffersen then is the overnight TQ, having won Q2. Toppy Heikkinen with that Q1 win is in P2. Petter Solberg third, Ekström, Kevin Eriksson, Ken Block, Timo Scheider and Janis Baumanis the top 8. Kevin Hansen, Niklas Gronholm, Sebastian Loeb and Timmers Yarnov are the top 12. Timmy and Andreas Backward both fighting for a place in the semi-finals. A big attraction on his own continent is one-man brand Ken Block, whose extreme sport career has its roots in much more traditional arenas.
I actually grew up in the Los Angeles Basin area, and that's why it's kind of funny that we're actually sitting at a baseball field that my dad was really into baseball, so I grew up going to Dodgers games, and I played baseball as a kid, and I thought I liked it until I got into my young teenage years, and I discovered skateboarding and snowboarding, all those sort of more individual sports. But probably the biggest influence for me that translated into the motorsport world was the dirt bikes. So when I got onto gravel with a rally car, it just was very familiar to me. You know, when I was involved in team sports, you could have self-expression, but there is sort of this narrow window that you got to fit in when you play right there. You have to go from that base to that base. How fast you do it and is the determining factor really that you win or not win. Whereas I felt it just fit my mind in a much better way for me to be able to be creative and find my own path with the things that worked for me personally. I count myself very lucky that I've been involved in some of the coolest sports in the world, you know, with Rallycross and Gymkhana. Quebec is a great part of Canada. Huge motorsports fans here. I've actually raced stage rally a couple times here in the national championship. But the funny thing about actually coming here is, although I'm in North America, I'm in one of the only states that's mostly French speaking. So for me, it doesn't even feel like I'm in North America. I'm much happier this year. It's great that I've made every semi, made some of the finals, but you know, for me, the car is just getting much more consistent and getting much more intuitive for me for it to work the way that I drive, which is much more of a rally style, kind of a later braking, harder commitment, and using the rear end of the car to kind of steer through the corner. It's really a unique time in the world of Rallycross that this is one of the most competitive championships in the world of motorsports with some of the biggest personalities. So I'm going to look back on this years from now and be very stoked that I was here, and overall being able to you know, compete at the highest level with a company like Ford.
Hello, my name's Andrew Coley. I will be commentating for you today alongside me, local racing driver Carl Nadeau, and reporting from the paddock, Neil Cole. Well, here's how they stand after Q2. Johan Kristoffersen currently the top qualifier from Topi Heikkinen, Solberg, Ekström, Eriksson, Block, Scheider and Baumanis. Heikkinen having taken Q1 in those drying conditions with a great result so far this weekend, so far up the table. Kevin Hansen, Niklas Gronholm, Sebastian Loeb, a fair way down Timurs Janov, but look at the people missing out. Hansen and Backer are currently not making the cut. On to the early races in Q3. Three drivers in here you wouldn't expect to be here. Hansen and Backer, of course, had transmission issues yesterday. Nitish as well recovering today. Decent fight between them, but it was Reinis Nitish who came out in front and took the flag. Niklas Gronholm in the background, left at the start line. He didn't make it out for free practice. They changed the engine so he wouldn't have a DNS. Unfortunately for him, he would have a DNF. The car pulled over, having only made it down the start-finish straight. But it still gives him a chance of making it through. Close racing in the background, but this one was all about Sebastian Loeb, who was absolutely flying out front. Well, ahead of this next one, let's have a look at Timo Scheider and Timurs Janov so far this year. Look at that fantastic result for Timo. Look, first event as a full-time World RX driver. He was P2 back in Barcelona. They've met 8 times this year on the track. 38% of the time it's gone to Timo, 62% to Timurs Janov. Timurs Janov with a bit more experience in Rallycross. Timo has won 8 of his qualifying race wins, 5 for Scheider. Neither of them has won a semi-final or a final yet. Race 3's on the line. Kevin Eriksson and Timo Scheider, teammates lining up next to each other. Kevin Hansen in the middle, Timurs Janov and Janis Baumanis. Timurs Janov, look, is 12th after Q2, so he's on the bubble. Everybody else is inside. Kevin Eriksson with a very good 5th after Q2. Takes brand new tyres. Baumanis just to front left, and that, of course, is because this is a clockwise circuit. Differing tyre tactics. Remember, because of the wet running yesterday, tyre wear isn't so critical, and this place isn't too hard on tyres anyway. Oh, it's a pretty even start. Baumanis maybe got a little bit sideways, and earlier on found Baccarat did that too from the P5 grid slot. Oh, 4 cars in a line down towards turn 1. Scheider gets sandwiched by Ericsson, and Kevin Hansen around the outside. Kevin's going to end up down in P5, and Baumanis manages to cut across and ends up P2.
Timmerzianov was really smart. He didn't get involved that much. He backed off, and at the end of the day, he's third anyways without damage on his car. So very smart move by him.
Well, we'll be able to have a look back at that in the replays at the end of the race. Look forward to trying to see how that one worked out. But Kevin Ericsson leads. He went well yesterday too. I think it was P4 in those terribly wet conditions in free practice, Carl. So he's having a good weekend.
Just coasting, the condition was already hard. Being fast was almost impossible.
A lot of the guys said they were surviving, didn't they? But not the same today. We got a little bit of dust today. There was no dust yesterday whatsoever. And that right-hander they've just gone through there was very hard because of the concrete surface. Everybody says it's quite a tricky corner.
And Ericsson's having a great weekend. He's been on top of his game all weekend. He's extremely quick, and he's leading by almost a second after a lap.
P3 in Q1, and P6 in Q2. So that sees Kevin right up there. Scheider as well. Where's Scheider overnight? He was P7 with a P11 and a P7. So JP Racing Team Austria having a good weekend here in Canada. Timmerzianov
did a great move. He jokered right away. He already catch the other guys, so he's going to get a lot of position.
So Timmer will be looking to get on the back of this train, and the spotters in the Teng Tool Spotters Tower, which is halfway down the straight this year. It's on the other side of the straight from our commentary position, so we are above the cars now on their left, and they are passing the spotters at the line on their right, and that means the spotters can see the gravel section too.
And Hansen looked a bit impatient at the beginning of the gravel section, but on the asphalt, it seems that the other guys are gapping him quite a bit.
Timmerzianov now 3.9 off the lead, but the only man to have jokered. What is going to happen in terms of joking tactics? Scheider slots out, so Scheider decides he wants some clear air. Now we get to see whether or not Timmerzianov has got him. Timmerzianov very clever. Timmerzianov shut the door on the exit.
Yeah, that was smart. Basically, he just shut the door in advance, so basically Scheider knew he was there. So at the end of the day, it can upset the exit of the car for Scheider.
Clever, is it? And it might have cost him, what, a 10th by turning out wide, but the point is it shuts the door, because if you don't shut the door, the next right-hander, if the guy from the joker's up your inside, you've got nowhere to go.
That's it.
Ericsson still leads from Baumanis and Kevin Hansen, so how far up is Timmerzianov going to get? Quite sure on the Joker Delta yet. We'll check it for you, possibly get our Joker predictor up. Here we go.
And
so the gap is 1.6. Timmerzianov, it looks like he will get him. Sorry, Carl. So Timmerzianov, the graphic says it will get him. Who else is he going to get? Baumanis as well. Timmerzianov is going to try and shut the door on his teammate, but he doesn't. Oh, that was super tiny between those two. Brilliant.
Yeah, both guys were really smart. There was no point of being side by side for those two extremely quick corners.
Timmer looking really quick up behind Yannis Baumanis, but great move, whether the spotters called it or not. This is the one person you don't want to hit is your teammate through the last right-hander. Kevin Ericsson has put in a great performance out front. He takes the win. Baumanis, Timmerzianov, Hansen and Scheider. He's P2 by 0.8 of a second in Q3, but wins his race. So another good result for Kevin Ericsson. With only 5 cars to come, of course, he's going to remain fairly high up the table. So Kevin Ericsson from Baumanis, Timmerzianov, Hansen and Scheider, but most importantly, this is where they slot in. Look at that, Ericsson, Baumanis right up the Timmerzianov as well. Timmerzianov overnight was in P12, so he's right on the cusp. That will help him out. 5 cars still to come. Kevin Ericsson's going to have a great qualifying position here as long as Q4 goes well.
Great start by Ericsson. Timmerzianov all the way outside is trying, then give up right away to be positioned right for the exit. As you can see, Hansen lost a lot of ground on the start.
Him and Baumanis were both clever there, weren't they? The 4 cars, you know, there's nowhere to go. You can't feel sorry for the 2 guys in the middle, because the decision is out of your hands.
And 4 wide, especially if it funnels to 1 car, it just doesn't make sense. So somebody had to give up.
Baumanis and Timmerzianov super close together at the merge, but nobody was close to Kevin Ericsson, and his great weekend continues. Let's compare our world champions, shall we, ahead of their race. Solberg with 2 titles to his name. Matthias Ekstrom, the current world champion. Ekstrom started the season with 3 wins in a row. Absolutely fantastic. compared to Solberg's 1 win at Leaden Hill. 21 times they've met head-to-head. They're always in the quick race, these guys. 57% of the wins have gone to Solberg compared to 43% for Ekstrom. 15 qualifying race wins look to Solberg, 11 to Ekstrom. They've both won 3 semi-finals, but as I said, 3 wins to Ekstrom, 1 to Solberg. In fact, in the overall standings for the season, Solberg is ahead of Matthias. Last race of Q3 is on the line, and they're pretty much ready to go. Johan Kristoffersson on the inside with his teammate Petter Solberg next to him. The world champion Matthias Ekstrom in the middle of the grid. Ken Block and Topi Heikkinen. Petter with 2 new front tyres. Ekstrom interesting with a front right, so obviously looking to not use that tyre too hard. Heikkinen having a good weekend. P2 overnight after winning Q1. He was one of only 3 drivers to swap to slicks as the track dried. So that played into his hands. He just managed to pick Kristoffersson, who'd gone in the worst of the conditions, but the VWs are still looking very, very strong. Solberg with a great start. Kristoffersson doesn't hook it up quite so well. Solberg with a clear lead in front now. Ekstrom pushes Kristoffersson across to the side of the road, but Kristoffersson is up his inside. Oh, Block across the track. If he can hold on to that, that's a fantastic piece of car control. Not sure by how much of that was by accident or on purpose. Oh, bodywork flies up, contact between Block, and I think it was between Heikkinen. And back onto the gravel section now. That was an exciting turn 1.
Lots of action for the first lap. Ken Block did an incredible smile. Of course, the crowd loves it. But at the end of the day, the 2 Volkswagen are up front despite the very bad start of Kristoffersson. So for them, it's all good.
It's worked out well. It'll be interesting whether or not they split the Joker strategy or decide to continue with it. They could Joker now if they wanted to. There's a danger, of course, you come out behind Heikkinen and Block, and looking at how far back off the rest of the pack they are, I think that would hold you up. So I don't think you can Joker now. I think you'd have to wait a lap.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, of course, Solberg wants to stay up front. He needs to get some points for the championship in front of Kristoffersson to have a decent fighting chance for the rest of the season. So Solberg's going to push really hard.
Ekstrom, look, just a little way back already. He's 2.2 off Solberg. He's 1 second off Kristoffersson. None of those 3 Joker. Being very sensible about their tactics. They know they're fast. They don't need to concern themselves with trying to get a 1-up on the other one. It's hard to pass here, Carl.
Yeah, it's very hard to pass, so that's why the 3 first drivers have to stretch their lead enough to make sure that they have a clear Joker.
Solberg from Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson will be disappointed with that start. They'll be able to look and see. I'm interested to know whether or not they used the same settings there. You know, was it a grip thing on the grid? You don't know, do you?
It seems that the car pretty much stalled, almost stalled on the start, so yeah.
Fastest lap of the day, Johan Kristoffersson, 48.009, so he's chasing Solberg down, but unless he jokers now, there's no chance of it being any different for the 2 of them, and he decides not to, so you pretty much know the finishing order. Ekstrom tiny in the background, hooks the Audi up right on the apex. Heikkinen as well.
We can clearly see the superiority of the Volkswagen this weekend. Of course, Heikkinen and Ekstrom are pushing extremely hard despite all the talent of Ekstrom. He just cannot get the Volkswagen up front.
Block still behind Heikkinen. Shame for Ken really in that turn 1 instant. Did very well to hold on to the car. Came across, he was late on the brakes, really committed. We'll have another look at it in the replays in a moment. Kristoffersson, look, has closed the gap to Solberg in front. He's just 5/10 off him now, 0.497. So Kristoffersson is definitely the point man, the championship leader. He's very, very fast, and Solberg will see that in his mirrors, and he'll know that he's going to have to beat him at the start, as he has here. Is for me, Kristoffersson's just got a tiny, tiny edge.
If Kristoffersson would have a decent start, he would be in front of Solberg right now. He's clearly quicker than Solberg, but Solberg just stepped it up.
All 3 did, so 3/10 there, all 3. See, that's where Solberg often does well, and Kristoffersson has said this himself, is in the Joker lap. They only do it once. He does the rally driver thing, send it and see. Kristoffersson sometimes practices the Joker lap more in an attempt to try to be on pace with him. Is it going to be enough to win Q4 target time? Bottom right, Solberg and Kristoffersson. Oh yes, my goodness me, fastest time of the weekend. Minus 2.6 seconds, Solberg has absolutely destroyed it. Kristoffersson in P2 was a 3:25.5, and we'll have to have a look and see how they slot in among the rest of the drivers. Yes, they're faster than everybody else. I can see from the timing screen. You'll see that on the graphics in just a moment. Solberg, 3:24.7. His teammate Kristoffersson, then Ekström, Heikkinen and Ken Block. And that's where they slot in. Only Ekström went with them into the top three. Good drive by them. They are at the top of Q3, and we'll be able to see where they stand overall after Q3 in just a moment. So this was the start. Heikkinen got away relatively clean, but watch for Block here.
Yeah, Block tried to outbreak by the outside, which is not exactly easy. Of course, nobody gave up, so there was a bit of contact, and Block got the worst of it, unfortunately for him.
Did well to hold on, didn't he? Because in fact, he was super late on the brakes and trying to squeeze to the inside, got attacked from the rear, but held on.
And corner one is so wide in Trois-Rivières that it leads to move, the gutsy moves.
Great stuff. Always exciting here, the first corner. Solberg has taken this one, but his teammate Kristoffersson is right with him.
Pernilla, an incredible time by Petter, and it's only Q3, but you guys celebrated that like it was a big win. Obviously means a lot.
It means a lot, you know. We struggled a little bit yesterday, and I think to find the speed now was just something really good for him.
Of course, Petter was the first man to win when we came to Canada, so it looks like he's on a mission to do it again.
Yeah, hopefully. I remember from 2014, that was just magical. It was all manic, all done in one day racing, and it was so hectic. And the mechanics had to work really hard that time, and just to win that event was really special. I think one of the most special events for me anyway that I remember.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, great stuff from the VWs in Q3, and this is how they stand after Q3. Johan Kristoffersson is still the overnight top qualifier. His teammate Petter Solberg now moves into P2 from P3, demoting Heikkinen down one slot. Still a great result for him. Ekström is in P4. Kevin Eriksson, his weekend continues to be very good indeed. Ken Block holds on to P6 as he was last night. Baumanis has gone up a place, and Sebastian Loeb has gone up 3 places from P11 to P8. Timo Scheider, Kevin Hansen, Timur Timosyanov and Andreas Baccarat. So Timosyanov was in P12, Baccarat was in P15, so he's done enough to scrape it through. At the minute, Timmy Hansen is missing out, and remember, so far this year, Hansen has made every single final. At the minute, he's not even in the semis. Well, let's have a look at some slow motion pictures of the top drivers from the World Rallycross Championship here at Trois-Rivières. Sebastian Loeb, front right wheel there, hooked right up. A few little rucks in there, Carl Nadeau.
Yeah, there's a few pretty bad bumps in the corner. Of course, with all the rain we got, the track basically has some bad spots.
This is the transition to the right-hander. Important to make sure that you've got the car turned in because the wall is very close there on the exit. Now we can look at that style compared to Petter Solberg.
Look how straight the wheels are on Peter Solberg's car. He's going for maximum traction out of the corner. That means he set up the car perfect on turn in, and there he is on the gas to exit the corner as quick as possible, and the setup for next corner is going to be extremely easy.
Solberg typically sideways on the way into the corner. Sebastian Loeb we saw when we watched free practice from another corner, which I think you'll see in a minute. Look at that. That is a fantastic shot of Solberg with a little bit of right lock, possibly a bit of handbrake, left foot brake on the way in, and he's got it turned in. This is Ekström over the jump. I think that's the jump in on the far side of the circuit. The car landed really nicely.
Yeah, very smooth. We can see the driving style of some driver, like Ken Block, for instance, is extremely aggressive, is catching a lot of air, is very sideways work, while drivers like Ekström and Kristoffersson are way smoother.
Wipers on for Ekström. This was mild rain compared to what we saw yesterday. We had extremely heavy rain. There is Kristoffersson over the jump. Again, not too much air, getting the car back down the ground and trying to get some traction and away.
And different line also to get into the corner. Most drivers are pretty much dead center, and he was slightly on the left side of the track.
Rear wheel, you could see there locking up on the way into the corner as well.
Seems like he was left foot braking a little bit. Most drivers won't use e-brake there. They're just going to gently tap the left foot so it pivots the car and you can exit extremely quick there.
Yeah, handbrake is a last resort, isn't it, as a general rule. So this is Scheider, and this was when we had the absolutely terrible rain, Carl.
Torrential rain on the track. Most drivers said that the track got extremely unpredictable. So, of course, you don't want to take too many chances, but at the same time, you want to be quick.
And this was the right-hander that we were saying to you about. Very, very slippery indeed. It's concrete just at the apex. You can see, well, you can't see the surface change quite so clearly here. You'll see it when you see the dry pictures of the track, but so important to get the car turned in. Got to be really, really patient on the throttle, get the power down and send the car down that very long straight. Here's how they stand ahead of Q4. So Johan Kristoffersson is currently the top qualifier. His teammate Petter Solberg in P2. If they can hold on to that, that's pole in both the semi-finals. Heikkinen, Ekström, Eriksson, Ken Block with a great performance, and Eriksson as well, to be fair. Janis Baumanis in P7. Sebastian Loeb's managed to make it up to P8. Timo Scheider, Kevin Hansen, Timosyanov and Bakrudi are top 12. But missing out the minute is Timmy Hansen, and he's made every final this year. On then to Q4, Niklas Gronholm needed an absolute stormer in this one. He didn't get a great start, but he did end up leading the race on the exit of turn 2, unlike Choo Choo, who with rear suspension damage span out of the race. Gronholm did take the win, but the time didn't look like it would be enough to make the semis. Last of the cars are pulling up onto the grid for race 2 of Q4. Kevin Hansen, Andreas Bakrud, Timo Scheider, Timmy Hansen and Guy Wilkes. Bakrud, look, he's just into the semis. Kevin Hansen's P10, Scheider's in P9, that's pretty good. But Timmy Hansen is the one to watch for me, 13th. He has made every single final this year, along with Johan Kristoffersson. They're the only two drivers to do that. Of course, he's got to make the semis. He wants to stand a chance of making the final. Guy Wilkes on the outside of the grid, we're hearing might have a technical issue, which will mean that he can't launch the car. So let's see what happens to Guy. Oh, he does get away, so Guy does get away. Nicely done by him. Timmy Hansen, though, looks to have got the best of the starts. Backward putting the squeeze on Kevin Hansen. Kevin can't go through the wall. Backwards late on the brakes. Timmy is on the inside of him. Where's Kevin going to get to? Kevin Hansen's going to look. Guy Wilkes has gone super tight at the inside. Nearly got away with that, but unfortunately has to join the back of the trailer cars. Look at the difference in style there as well between Timmy Hansen and Andreas Bakrud. Bakrud surely there. Oh, I don't know, I might have been tempted to joker there, Carl.
And there was very, very tight between Hansen and Scheider also, so Scheider had to give up the position. That's why he went straight for the joker. And remember, they're all sitting between 9th and 14th right now, so everybody wants to be there for the semi.
Timmy Hansen leading from Bakrud. Kevin Hansen behind, so Bakrud is in a Hansen sandwich here. I thought Bakrud might joker because it looked to me like he got such a good exit from turn 3 onto the gravel section. He was right of Timmy, and then he shut the door to defend from Kevin, which I kind of understand, but again, with that, I might have gone, do you know what, let's just bail and go to the joker. But
sometimes you have to think about the whole session, just not one corner. So sometimes it's better to give up right away, clock some good times, and be up front.
Timmy over the jump, Bakrud, Kevin, anybody going to joker this time? Kevin goes, so Kevin Hansen decides to get out of the traffic, a little bit of handbrake, turns the car in. He's tidy, it's going to be close between him and Scheider, and Kevin's got the line. Nicely done. I wonder if they were watching Scheider's lap times. How was Scheider on the previous lap? I can't tell. He was pretty. No, Scheider had been in the joker, so hard to see if he was gaining or not. And that's where the spotters could come into this, isn't it? If they can't see it from the timing screens, sometimes they can visually look at something or measure a gap themselves and make a decision.
I qualify spotters like co-drivers in rally. Their job is extremely, extremely important, and we don't talk enough about them. They're doing a tremendous job.
It's stressful as well, you know. Particularly, you're spotting with somebody who's in the championship fight and you say the wrong thing. There's our predictor, look. So at the minute, we're looking like Bakrud will be out in front of Kevin Hansen should he joker now, and he does. So let's see how accurate it is. 0.6 instead. Bakrud turns the focus in. He's tidy on the inside, and I would say it's pretty much bang on. So nicely done for him. 1 lap left to go. Timmy Hansen is going to joker on the final lap, and then we're going to get an idea of whether or not Niklas Gronholm's time of 3:30.0 is going going to be enough to put him anywhere near the fight, because we've got another 10 cars to come after these 5 cars cross the line. Scheider's right up underneath Kevin.
He's putting a lot of pressure on Kevin Hansen, and of course Hansen responded by a very good exit right before the straight line, and the straight is so long that if you get a great exit from the last corner, you're good to go.
Really important to get that right. A little locked wheel from Kevin, yeah, not too much though.
just enough to have a little scared. And here you can see a lot of drivers, it seems that they're over-rotating the car, but the thing is they're so straight for the exit that they can straighten the wheel, be on the gas right away. And you just saw with Hansen, he did a great job in front of back.
Got to be tidy and patient. You can see it was nicely done there, the way he managed to just hug the inside line, not run too deep out into the loose gravel. Timmy with that smooth style through the last right-hander. Gronholm's time, bottom right of your screen. What's it going to be? Timmy's going to beat it. 3:26.884, 3.1 seconds faster, and I'm afraid that would suggest with, let me see, does Kevin, okay, so Kevin Hansen doesn't beat Niklas, so Niklas remains in P3, but so we've still got 10 cars to go, so we'll come down to how the results are in the remaining races. Timmy Hansen taking the second race of Q4, Backerud, Kevin Hansen, Timo Scheider and Guy Wilkes. Wilkes was in P14, that's where they slot in, so he goes into P6 here. They all slot into the top 6. Gronholm holding on to third. So this was off the line, down towards the first corner, bundle on the inside. Backward really gave Kevin a squeeze on the run down the straight, but through turn 1 then Kevin looked like he was going to be up the inside, and Guy was unlucky because he did the sensible thing of holding back to do a cutback, but there wasn't any space.
Yeah, usually it works if you have a perfect braking and you're going outside on corner 1 or completely inside. At the funnel, you can make your way through and save a couple of positions.
And you kind of need the other guys on the inside, of course. If they have a little bit of contact and run wide, then happy days. Didn't work out for Guy this time. We'll have to see whether or not he makes the cut. Q4 race 3. We're going to find out whether or not Timmy Hansen's time will be enough to make him through to the semis. Topi Heikkinen on the right, Ken Block, Janis Baumanis, Reinis Nitish, and then Timers Janov. A couple of teammates in here. New fronts for Timmer, new front left for Janis. Tyres all round for Ken. Reinis and Topi, of course, teammates, and Janis and Timmer. So Ken Block, the only lone operator in this one. Start marshals leave the grid, green flag ready to race, won't be long now. Pretty long hold, Ken Block so aggressive off the lineup, but did he get too much wheel spin because Heikkinen's edge, a little bit of contact between them, they came together in the last session as well. Nitish Baumanis, that's the second time they've touched, this time Ken Block can't hold on to the focus, he's spun all the way around, he's going to need to get back on the gas, lights it up, donuts the car back round. Nitish somehow caught up in the back of that, and it's Baumanis lead from Timosyanov.
Baumanis and Timosyanov are probably laughing their brains out right now. Like, it was almost impossible what happened, and there they go, they're in front.
Heikkinen with a bit of contact with Baumanis in the background there. So yeah, Topi and Ken with a bit of history from the previous race, a tiny touch, and again now, but I mean, I don't think there's anything malicious in it, it's just a bundle at the start.
Yeah, they're aggressive drivers, they're fighting for spot, it's just normal, and corner 1 is extremely tempting. It's so wide here in Trois-Rivières that you want to be there and you want to have the good position for corner 2.
So Timosyanov and Baumanis we saw run very, very close together in their previous race. Timmer has decided to joker this time out. He'll be hoping that he can get the overlap on Baumanis when it comes to the jokers. Baumanis has got Heikkinen and Nitish bottled right up behind him. Look at Timmer, he's on a mission in the background.
He's really, really pushing hard. Actually, he can scrub a bit of time doing that. It's not exactly great for Chrono, but the crowd's going to love him right now.
That's the most important thing, but a crowd love maybe for
and
Timmer.
making the semi.
Yeah, it is. So the minute Timosyanov's going to get him already. Timosyanov, they're almost up the wall. He's using every inch of the track. Nitish then almost touches the wall on the right-hand side. Everybody's pushing really, really hard, but Timosyanov at the moment is looking on to get past. Now, what he doesn't want to do, Carl, is if he catches up with this train and they hold him up, he loses time. And this is all about time.
Yeah, and he's sitting 11th right now, so he wants to be sure to be in the final, so he's going to push really, really hard the whole run. Nitish is usually very quick, especially with the new wing setup in the long straight here. it shouldn't hold Timurzianov too much on the straight at least.
I reckon we were talking, weren't we? People have been looking at data secretly, and they're thinking it could be worth 12 kilometres an hour, the EKS rear wing, as we see both the EKS cars go, and that's great news for Timurzianov. So Timurzianov has managed to get them already. I wonder if they were hoping to get back out in front of him, but no chance. He's miles in front. Now he chases his teammate down.
Yeah, pretty much clear track for him. They're not going to do anything stupid between teammates. And by the time Bowman is do the Joker with the gap they have, Timurzianov should be up front.
Timurzianov just 1.9 seconds back. How much in front will he be?
He's charging
straight.
hard.
Yeah, he is. You can see, can't you, the attitude of the car that Tim is pushing really hard. How quick is he going to take turn one this time? Look, when a car flew off in the background. Then 1.2, it looks like he might be in front. And he was 2 back, so that suggests the Joker is just over 3 seconds, about 3.2 in these dry conditions. And there we go, so yeah, say 2.9, they're saying he's going to come out 0.8 in front. Balmanis with a flick of the car to get it turned in, the bumper's hanging off, but Timurzianov's going to come out in front of him. Timur again opens the steering up to shut the door, but Balmanis has made it out in front of Heikkinen.
Very, very smart move, actually. You could see both cars wiggle a bit. They were really at the extreme limit.
Ken Block, I think, is look at Ken Block stopped. So Ken Block has stopped. That's a disaster. Ken was sitting in P6 overnight, which was a great qualifying performance for him. He's down the straight. He hasn't stopped, and he's going to make it over the line in time. That's crucial. Timurzianov over the line for the win with a 329.1. Timmy Hansen's 326 is looking great. So Timmy looks like he's going to go through to the semis. Gronholm's looking less likely. He was on a bit of a big ask anyway to come through from 15th, but Ken Block, who was P6, we thought he'd stopped. He hadn't come up on the timing screen. His lap times
He's actually almost a lap down, but
yeah,
good for him. They didn't have time to lap him, so he's going to be able to finish the lap and clock a time.
Exactly that, exactly that. If he'd been lapped, then it would have been race over for him. So Ken Block, what's happened? Front left, is it tyre off the rim? We can't really see. Still seems to have... we think he span again later on in the race. So Ken is dragging the focus round. The spotters will be on the radio to him. Look, that looks like a handful to drive to me, Carl.
Yeah, the car seems to be pretty much impossible to drive. We don't see like misalignment or anything like very, very easy to
drive
to
train
see.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's weird.
If there's been a spin as well. We saw that for Backrud yesterday, remember? Possibly the front wheels pointing out, we think, as well. Yeah, they are. The front left is pointing out heavily. So applause from the crowd for Ken Block, but most importantly was that he made it over the line just before Timurzianov. Otherwise, that would have been a DNF if he had gone a lap down. So 329.1 for Timurzianov. Balmanis close behind. Heikkinen, Nittish, Block should just scrape through to the semis, hopefully. He was in P6, but... Right, it's all on the line right now. Timmy Hansen and Backrud leading Q4 as we stand. This was it off the line then, so let's have a look at Ken Block. I say really, the nose of the car came up really quickly and aggressively. He then brakes hard here, look, and just into the side of Heikkinen, so there wasn't enough room given there, I think. Ends up spinning off to the side. Turns the car back round the other way, so was the damage already done there? Hard to tell.
It could have went either ways because there was a bit of space, but everybody wants to protect, everybody wants to be aggressive, so
you think Heikkinen could have given some space too with Ken coming across?
Actually, I think Ken had a little bit of space on the left side.
So Ken should have left a bit more room, possibly. Timurzianov over the line. I say Ken Block had just made it through. This is getting to be a bit of a lottery as to who's going to get into those crucial top 12 spots.
Timur, you really needed a good race to make sure you get into the semis. You're currently P3 in Q4.
Yeah, that's good because the last run was really, I needed this run. I needed a good time. I win my heat. Actually, I was fifth on the start, but I think Ken and Nittish was done something strange there. I was lucky that I can follow my teammate. In fact, I do some mistakes and they take my time, I think, so yeah. But we are in semi-finals, we can continue to fight for some places in final.
Well done, we'll see you there.
Thank you, see you next time. Hopefully see you next time, man.
The final race of qualifying here at round 8 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship, Q4, race 4. Solberg and Kristoffersen on the inside, Matthias Ekström, Sebastian Loeb and Kevin Eriksson. Have a look at their positions and you'll know that none of these guys are in danger, but the times they do will affect everybody else. And we've got a load of people who are not sure whether or not they're going to make the cut. Ekström with the new front right again, so not looking to stress that too hard. And you can see from the fact they haven't taken new tyres, they're pretty confident that they're going through. top three in the championship side by side on the inside. Kristoffersen, Solberg, I'm sure, will have had a conversation about how to play this down in turn one. As they get the start, they can hold everybody off. Looks like they've got away pretty cleanly, but Ekstrom and Loeb have also got a great start. Ekstrom's going to put a squeeze on Kristoffersen. Loeb on the outside, look how close it is. Loeb goes up the inside now. Loeb trying to go past Solberg as well. Sebastian Loeb with a great move. He's alongside Solberg. Solberg, he's going to get squeezed out. Solberg could end up P5. Eriksson's gone through the tyre wall. Kevin Eriksson through the tyre wall at turn 2, so 3 into 2 just would not go. There's tyre smoke from Loeb from the rear right with a bit of contact. It still stayed up, but okay, exciting start.
Start for Peter Solberg. Poor him. He's losing a lot right now, and Kristoffersen is laughing all the way to the bank right now.
He is indeed. Kristoffersen has performed a robbery down in turn 1 thanks to Sebastian Loeb, who for me, that was a cracking move from Loeb. He looked like he wasn't there and just tucked it in behind turn 1 and got alongside.
Actually, he looked like a professional road racer more than a rally man. He planned his passing perfect and he went straight for the inside at the right timing. It was just amazing.
So even if you don't get the start, there is a way to get the job done here down at turn 1. That was 4 cars there altogether. Has Kevin stopped or has he carried on? You could see the mess of the tyre wall as these 3 hop up over the first jump into the dirt arena. This is a horse trotting track which the Rallycross circuit was built. The centre of the hippodrome is super close behind, but Loeb's got Solberg, so nicely done by him. That was them trying to react quickly, but not quickly enough. So Solberg now behind. He's not going to lose much time here, though.
Yes and no, because Solberg was right behind Ekstrom and he was kind of losing a bit of time. He went for the Joker, and now it's Loeb in front. So actually, it is not exactly in a comfortable position right now.
Okay, so will he try to pass, look? 2 World Rally legends, one of whom's got a double World Rallycross Championship record, trying to pass Sebastian Loeb. Solberg was right up behind him there, wasn't he? And Loeb would be aware. It's great to see these 2 fighting side by side. Of course, they used to fight on the timesheets in rallying, but this is what we like to see, actual racing between them. They both jokered, said there's going to be a pass, it's got to be on the circuit, side by side again, and it's close at the merge, but Ekstrom gets them both. It couldn't be closer. A tap in the rear from Loeb and a tap in the rear from Solberg as well. These 3 guys in a train.
Solberg must be desperate right now. He's got a lot of people in front of him. He knows Kristoffersen is all alone in front. Solberg's going to push hard to get the pass done.
Kristoffersen then was TQ before this top qualifier. And I think he's going to hold on to that. Is he going to win Q4? He's got a joker on the last lap. The target time at the minute is Timmy Hansen.
And you get 3 drivers fighting that don't do a lot of mistakes. So it's going to be very hard to get the passing done. You might have to force your way in just a bit.
Bit of a disaster here for Kevin Eriksson. So Kevin Eriksson, of course, in P5 overall after Q3 is around, what's he back? Or you can see on your timing screen yourself, top left. He's 14 seconds down. So he was P5, Ken Block was P6, he's had a disaster. I have no idea where everyone's going to be until we see the clock stop and we get the points together. You'll know in just a few moments' time who's made it through to the semi-finals. A train of cars coming down towards the finish. Sorry, Carl Kristoffersen's going to take it. Is he going to take Q4 with it over the line? The clock stops and he's done it. Kristoffersen takes his 2nd qualifying session of the weekend. 1.9 faster, 3:26.8. A couple of seconds off the fastest time set by Solberg in Q3, but Kristoffersen with that, he was over Q3 top qualifier and he will be overall top qualifier, having won Q4, so great job by the World Championship leader. There it is, 3:24.9. Ekstrom takes P2, Loeb and Solberg. Solberg losing out to Loeb in turn 1. Great racecraft from Loeb. Kevin Eriksson, you see drops off the timesheet towards the bottom. Timmy Hansen is right up there. Timmy fighting to maintain his record of final runs with Kristoffersen. They've both made the final all the way through this season. Is it going to stop here or will he have made the semi-finals? Off the line then, Loeb on the outside, look at this, so it's pretty even, and then Loeb here goes, do you know what, I'm going to back out of this, tucks in, and then here, look, winds the lock on up the inside of Solberg. Solberg's got nowhere to go on the racing line, has he, because there were cars outside him.
And it's very hard to time it and have the grip to do it, so Loeb was incredible on that maneuver.
Great job, you saw Kevin Eriksson in the background again, just thump into the tyres. This was that close merge. Watch for the contact here. Tiny bit from Solberg into we're talking rubbing, but it's a cracking merge here. It's really, really close. Solberg couldn't do anything about his teammate Kristoffersen. Kristoffersen is on for a record podium run. He's got 6 podiums in a row. That is the record, and it's held by him and Solberg. Can he take it in his own right here in Canada?
Johan, there was a lot of action behind you and a lot of pressure, but basically you did well, won the race, and you're top qualifier now.
Yeah, it was really good. I had a good launch, and from there it was tight on the inside in the first corner, and Matthias came over a lot, but in the end I managed to go out from turn 2 in the lead, and from there I decided to just don't take any big risk and don't hit any big holes, and there's a lot of ruts, and it's quite rough on a few places, so just try to stay clean.
See you in the semis.
Yeah, see you.
Johan looking as calm as ever, said he didn't take any risks, he didn't need to, he already knew that he was going to be top qualifier, and there is confirmation of that. The only man to win 2 sessions this weekend, Q2 and Q4, takes the top qualifier spot from Solberg, who will be on pole in the other semi-final. Great tactics for Volkswagen. Again, when they take those top 2 spots, it's hard to beat them. Ekstrom and Heikkinen, so the 2 EKS cars right up there. Kevin Eriksson, look, despite a terrible run in Q4, has managed to hold on to P5. Sebastian Loeb is up into 6th from 8th. That's so much better than it was overnight. Baumanis in P7, good for him. And Ken Block only drops down from P6 to P8 with the problem he had in Q4. Good result. Timmy Hansen's made it through to the semi-finals, so he's on to continue his final run, but it'll be hard from the back row. And Timers Yarnov then, Kevin Hansen and Timo Schotter. Backwood hasn't made it. Andreas Backwood has not made the semi-finals. Niklas Gronov, Guy Wilkes, Reinis Nitish going no further this weekend. On to the last page, De Bourg, Munich, Choo-Choo and de Moustier are out as well.
So, Ken Block flying the flag for the USA and Ford Performance. Your superb record of making the semi-finals this year continues. You must be very happy.
Yeah, the cars have been constantly improving. Actually had some very good times this weekend. Unfortunately, this last qualifier, I had a little impact going into turn 1 and something broke in my front end, and that was kind of the end of my good run at this one, but still 8th overall in qualifying, so I'm in an okay spot for the final. For the semi-final. So really looking forward to getting back in the car and hopefully doing better than that last qualifier. But yeah, it's been a improving year. The car still needs some work, but the team's been working very hard to keep improving it. And yeah, very, very happy to kind of be getting better and better results.
But a shock that Andreas didn't make it through. Do you know why? Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, unfortunately with an event like this, with the weather the way that it's been, the track's been constantly drying out through the qualifiers. In one of the early qualifiers, he had a mechanical issue. We had a drive shaft break on him, and it just set him back. And so he's been in some of the first races of all the qualifiers, and the time has just been coming quicker and quicker into the end of the qualifiers. So I benefited because I had a very good Q1 and just kind of kept on that pace. But unfortunately with him, he got set back and just had to try and recover. And just, I think he ended up 13th, so 1 spot out of the semis. So really disappointed. He's been very quick this year. Car's been working good for him. He just, unfortunately, it's one of those bad luck events where had a broken drive shaft and it's kind of put him out of it.
Okay, good luck. We'll see you in the semi.
Thank you.
Ken. So let's go to the next door neighbour. Of course, Ken doing his best to keep up with the Joneses, literally next door. We should find Petter Solberg. There he is at the back of the car. Let's go all the way through. The car looks very clean again. Hey Petter, thanks for waiting. You were the first person to win when World RX came to Canada. It looks like you're on a mission to do it again.
Yeah, I must say, the first victory here in Canada was incredible. Oliver also came here to the first race, so he was very, very happy. And for me, it's been going really well. We have good speed. You won good speed, 1 and 2, and good teamwork again. And I think that's the key. So let's hope. I have a good feeling, and the car works well, and the gravel part here is fantastic. I love it. So it will be very interesting.
Okay, so in one word, what would it mean to you to win in Canada again? Very briefly.
For sure. Oliver came to me earlier, and then let's win both of us. It would have been really good fun, and so we'll do what we can. But I will be very, very happy.
Well, you can see the drivers and the teams down in the pre-grid, waiting to get underway for these two semi-finals, find out who is going to make it through. Remember, top 3 from each of the semi-finals goes through to the final. Carl, we're looking forward to this, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of action here in Trois-Rivières. Very special circuit for Rallycross, of course. Long straight, corner 1, extremely wide, so lots of action. And especially with the RX Lite, the cars are so close together, there's going to be a lot of action.
It's going to be good racing for sure. There's Oliver Solberg. He's been racing here this weekend in a Subaru.
He's racing the CXE Rally Championship, a national Canadian championship. And I can tell you, I've talked with the organizer, everybody is so impressed by him, and they said he's in a class of his own, and they're basically already learning from him.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. Been rallying in Latvia in an R2 Fiesta, where you can get a competition license when you're a bit younger, which is why his first car this weekend carries the Latvian flag. There you go. Had a little snoop around his pits yesterday. There's Kristoffersen, the top qualifier, the World Championship leader by 31 points on a podium run of 6. He's got 3 wins so far this season. So he really is having an absolutely outstanding time. Can anybody stop him? This would be his 3rd win in a row if he can do it here in Canada. Him and Solberg with a little advantage maybe. But we have seen some action down at turn 1. If you've been watching the qualifying so far, you know that you can get a pass done. Stay with us. Well, we've seen some pretty incredible weather this weekend. Terrible, terrible rain yesterday. Of course, we've had drier conditions today. Some fantastic racing. Those VWs are right up at the front again. But you can see there are another 10 cars in these semi-finals who are keen to stop them. Semi-finals coming up very soon. My name is Andrew Coley, reporting from the paddock. As always, is Neil Cole. Joining me on commentary is Carl Nadeau, who is a racing driver of some repute here in Canada. And Carl, you've been with us for 4 seasons now. How are you finding the World Rallycross Championship for the 4th year in Canada?
It's incredibly evolved over the years. First of all, the driver lineup. The drivers were always good, but now we get some world champion, we get DTM drivers, and everybody shares different experience, so the mechanic improved, the cars are better, they're faster, so great show. We're extremely excited.
Cannot wait for this. It's very, very hard indeed just to make the semi-finals now, let alone make it through to the final. There's Kristoffersen getting himself lined up. Let's see how we got to this point this weekend, what the points were from the knockout qualifying. Johan Kristoffersen with that TQ. It's his 3rd 2017 TQ. His teammate Petter Solberg is P2. Then it's Ekström and Heikkinen. That's Heikkinen's best qualifying of this season. Eriksson, Lowe, Baumanis, Ken Block, Timmy Hansen making it through. He didn't have a good weekend. Luckily, a good run in Q4 sees him in. He's the only person other than Kristoffersen on the opposite side of the table who's made every final so far this year. Will he do it again today? Tim Janov, Kevin Hansen, Timo Scheider. Look at Backrud, though, just missing out in P13. Unusual for him. Odds go to semi-final 1, evens go to semi-final 2, so those 2 polos are going to be lining up where they want to be on pole position in each of the 2 semi-finals. Can anyone get them down at that first corner? Ekström is going to be the first person to have a crack at making a turn 1 pass on Kristoffersen. Neil Cole caught up with him earlier.
Well, Matthias, we're in Canada. You missed 1 round, but I guess the title defense is still your #1 goal, right?
Yeah, I think it's not nice to miss a race, but this weekend we are trying our best. But the VWs are for the moment playing in their own league, and we are trying to keep the pressure up and see if they can make any mistakes.
Well, you do seem to have shortened the kind of performance gap between the Audi and the Volkswagen, because down this long straight, you're kind of keeping up with them.
Yeah, I think into turn 1 it's quite okay, but then it's also some lap time needed. So in general, we are quite happy with the performance, what we have managed to get out of our cars. And last weekend in Höljes wasn't too great, but it's great to be back again and show that we're able to run up front at least.
Very good. Good luck.
Yes, thanks.
You could see in the background there the low-profile rear wing that all 3 of the EKS cars have run this weekend. and that's given them just a little bit less drag. So all these tiny little thin margins being made just to see if you can get a little bit of a gain. Here's what we've got coming up for you in the next hour. First of all, of course, we have the semi-finals. Top 3 from each of those go through to the final. We've got the first ever RX2 final outside of Europe. Of course, we've had RX Lights racing here in the past, but that was an Intercontinental Cup. And the World RX final to see who's going to win round 8 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship 2017. Fans are in the stands and looking forward to this. You can see they've lined them up on the grid already. All the tyre warming and pre-warming done. The marshals are ready to release them, so we had better have a look at the grid. Well, we'll have a look at the grid in a moment, it seems. You can see them down there. Here's the lineup. Johan Kristoffersson on pole position with the top qualifier spot. The world champion Matthias Ekström alongside him. Can he do anything down into turn 1? Row 2, Kevin Eriksson and Janis Baumanis. Good performances from them this weekend. And on to row 3, the Hansen brothers, Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen. Timmy Hansen, as I say, has made every final so far this year, but it will be a big ask to do so again from the back of the semi-final. Been sitting there waiting with the pressure building for a little while. That's what they wanted to see. This is where the procedures come into place. The ready to race light is on. The gears will already be engaged. The anti-lag and the revs are up. Green light and not a great start from Ekström. Ekström's been left on the grid. Timmy Hansen swerves around the outside of him. Kevin Hansen too. Kristoffersson's going to lead down to turn 1. Eriksson next to him. Hansen's on the inside of Baumanis. There's no room there. He's had that happen before when he's gone down into turn 1 with Solberg. It's Kristoffersson who leads into the first corner.
Absolutely the best start of the weekend for Kristoffersson at the right time, of course, for semi-final. So if he starts first, he's pretty much unbeatable until he's going to become a failure.
No one was near him down into turn 1. The only person who could possibly have done it, as we see in the background, both of the Hansen cars have gone into the Joker lap. If Ekström had made it to turn 1 with him, you know, when they start in a line, they're all together. When they're in a grid like that, the only man who was going to match him was Ekström, and he didn't get a good start.
No, exactly, and it's very hard to outbreak in Corner 1 if you didn't get a good start. And the two Hansen brothers, great move. They both jokered right away. They can help each other actually and draft each other on the straight, so that can help them quite a bit.
Clever move from them, maybe. Ekström back in the dust. This is the first time we've really seen dust this weekend. We've been following literally the whole place was flooded yesterday. We're talking about a foot of water in places, fire engine pumping it out. Circuit organised did a great job to get everything dried up. Ekström now, though, closing the gap down to Baumanis in front. What will Ekström do? Do you think he'll Joker?
Oh, I think he's got time, actually.
There he is, he's gone in, so he releases himself from behind Baumanis, but he's going to come out behind the two Peugeots. So Ekström's come out behind Timmy and Kevin Hansen, and I think he'll know now he's not going to make it.
No, that's going to be very, very tough. The two Hansen brothers already jokered, and of course they're not going to make it easy for Ekström.
Look at the visibility of the second jump, the exit to the circuit. We haven't seen that all weekend.
Finally dust in Grand Prix Trois-Rivières. We didn't know that was possible.
Certainly not after yesterday. So Eriksson with 1.6, Baumanis 2.8 back on Kristoffersson, Timmy Hansen 4.5 seconds back. We think the Joker's about 3.2 seconds.
Around that, but actually the track is drying non-stop, so the Joker's going to be quicker.
So maybe a little bit more grip in there. We've seen people having to be really patient, keep the car tight in on the inside so far this weekend. Eriksson decides to Joker now, so Eriksson is in, Baumanis behind, and Timmy Hansen's going to come out alongside. That's a massive hit. So Kevin Eriksson there gave absolutely no room whatsoever. Timmy Hansen just kept the door shut. Has that damaged either car, do you think?
Yeah, actually it looks pretty good, but if I was Hansen, I would have kept my racing line and put it on the guy behind. So basically, Hansen did the right thing because Eriksson was a bit over-aggressive.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? I mean, if that could have ended up with both of them in the wall, but at the minute, they've done okay. And of the people that have joked, I think if Baumanis jokers now, he's going to end up dropping back. So Kristoffersson with a 4.4 second lead. We're only on lap 4 out of 6. In the background, Eriksson runs a little bit wide. You see Ekström's held up behind Kevin Hansen, so this is game over for Ekström. I don't think he's going to make it through to the final unless he has some sort of a miracle in front. And this is really going to be about Baumanis now. It doesn't really matter if he holds Timmy up. Timmy's not going to get Johan. Johan's going to go through to the front row.
Exactly. A disastrous race for Ekström for his championship hope. it's going to be really tough for him.
It's hard, isn't it? You know, Audi made the decision that he needed to do the DTM instead of this. He leads the DTM. There's been another event since he missed Sweden, so you can kind of see their point. But for the world champion to know that the title's slipping away, that must be a pretty tough feeling, I think.
It's heartbreaking for him because he knows his win, he knows he's talented, and he's got his head on, he's driving great. So, but at the end of the day, the sponsors made the decision for DTM. It was the right choice.
Huge damage was indeed. Huge damage down the side of Ericsson's car from that contact with Hansen. Hansen keeping the door very firmly shut. The Peugeot seems to have held up extremely well. Yeah, he's a good guy, Ekstrom. Had a long chat with him this morning. He's really pleased, obviously, to be leading the DTM as we see Hansen, Ericsson, Kevin Hansen, but not Ekstrom. Ekstrom ends up behind Baumanis, so Ekstrom now fighting for one more point. He's alongside Baumanis into the right-hander. Great move for the world champion. Just managed to get the nose in there and held on.
Very, very good move. And they have to be careful because there's carbon fiber on the racetrack, and it's very, very easy to puncture a tire, and some guys went straight over it. So
hopefully they'll manage to hold on. Bits of bodywork out there from that contact. So Christopherson with a 6.1 second lead has to joke it on this last lap. Timmy Hansen is chasing him down. Timmy Hansen from the back row is going to maintain that final run, it seems. We're going to see Christopherson and Hansen heading through. Those guys have made every final this year, and they're going to make another one now. Christopherson leading from Timmy around the left. Ericsson's going to go through too, so what's Ericsson's best result so far this year? He's had a 5th place in the final, and he's going to go through to another final here. I wonder if him and Timmy will have words afterwards. But Christopherson around the right hand of the World Championship leader is booking his place in another final here in Canada. Johan Christopherson takes it a flamboyant swerve as he passes the checkered flag. This man is on it. Can anyone stop him? Timmy Hansen continues that final run. He books a place in the semi. Kevin Ericsson goes through as well. And the crowd like that. Great drive, Carl, from Christopherson. He's faultless at the minute.
No mistake. He was on it. He was concentrated, and hats off to Hansen.
Ekstrom's out. Ooh. So Ekstrom's retired on the last lap. So we didn't see what happened there. He'd made that pass on Baumanis. The car looks intact, but there we are. Christopherson takes the win, Timmy Hansen and Kevin Ericsson, so it's 3 Swedes out of the 5 that were in this semi-final going through to the final. Kevin Hansen, Jonas Baumanis and Matthias Ekstrom go no further. Ekstrom still gets 1 point despite retiring from the semi-final. So here's another look at that start, Carl. Didn't go well for Ekstrom.
Great start by Christopherson. Of course, more action behind him. Corner 1, Christopherson all alone perfect, but it's really fighting behind him.
In a line down through turn 2, yeah.
The brothers are in the back, but they're going to fight their way up.
This was the joker lap for Ericsson. We had a few close merges here. Look at that. See, Timmy covered him off, didn't he? Timmy actually, and if he hadn't have done, I think he'd have lost the place.
Timmy did the right move, actually, because he was heading for the corner. He didn't really change his racing line. So, yeah, basically a racing accident.
And we saw Timosyanov do that a few times this year, didn't we? Sorry, this year here in Canada. Look, this was the move from Ekstrom, but then something happened to Ekstrom in the last lap. If they just straighten the steering slightly on the exit of the standard lap, you can really shut the door. But yeah, Christopherson around the right hand of the world champion. So there we are, Christopherson. My commentary still on there. Apologies for that, but over the line, taking the win, and he goes through to pole in the final again.
Johan, lights to flag. It looked like you were in a league of your own, but you just did a big intake of breath. How was it?
Yeah, of course, semi-final is always a bit of a nerve for the weekend because everything starts over again, but I had the best position and I had a great launch. So from there, the organizer made a very nice track. So yeah, from there the Volkswagen was working just perfectly. When there is newly surface of gravel, the traction is amazing.
Good luck in the final.
Thank you.
Christopherson looking relaxed as Ekstrom's car is on the low loader and heading back to the pits. Quick recovery from the local track crew. We have another semi-final to come. Jackets on. It's cold here today. It was boiling hot. Day 1, it was like 30 degrees and hot. Day 2, we had torrential rain. Now day 3, it's a bit cold. There's a few beers and a few coffees on the go. Plenty of racing still to come. Crowd waving at themselves on the big screens. There's Ekstrom. Where's he headed? Up to the Ting Tool Spotters Tower, possibly. That looks like the bridge over from the other side of the track. Yeah, he does. There's some of the team up there. The flags of all the various different drivers, and of course the United States and Canada flying down the side of the track. Pre-grid lining up ready for semi-final number 2, and of course at the back there we can see the drivers are in the RX2 final, and we've seen some good racing there too, Carl.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very close. Of course, Riemann and Rook have a serious advantage. They've been extremely quick the whole weekend, but we never know in RX2.
Looking forward to it. Those guys there were undercover yesterday. That was the place to be if you didn't want to be completely soaking wet. I met a few Rallycross fans down the paddock and said how much they loved it. It was great to see them, but they were down there and they said, we were here yesterday, Andrew. Like, really proud of themselves, and I was like, I admire you. They sat in the grandstand, you know, in torrential rain. So let's have another look back at semi-final number 1. Ekstrom there. Well, it seemed to me that the car was in full fettle for most of the race, although of course he did break down at the end, so possibly there was an issue already. Whatever happened, it didn't go his way.
Yeah, exactly. And Ensign took a very, very great start. Unfortunately for him, he ended up 4th, but he never, ever gave up during that run. There was a lot of action and contact during semi-final 1, but fortunately most cars made the job.
This was the first lap joke for the two Hansons, again quite clever by them, so kind of taking themselves out. They know, don't they, that everyone's quick enough that they don't need to worry about jokering early and ending up getting caught up behind traffic. But the thing I'm really keen to see is when Ericsson comes out from his joker to watch Hansen close the door on him. Hopefully we might get round to that, but it might only be the first lap, so we'll have to see.
It's funny because in road racing, when you get the inside for next corner, usually the corner is yours. But in Rallycross, if you're on the regular lap and somebody joker, you kind of feel that it's your right of way. So
yeah, there's a rule, isn't there, for joker exit? Basically, the main lap in theory takes precedent over the joker lap. So Timmy was right to the letter of the rules. Having said that, here, you know, when you come out the joker lap, you've got the inside line, the corner that they're heading into now, Kristoffersson. You're on the right, and in fact, we've seen. I'm pretty sure it was Kevin Eriksson we saw end up in the wall here after contact with somebody in a previous year at the joker lap merge. So he knows what can happen there. This was it. So watching for Timmy, look, and he straightens the car out just a little bit. And although Kevin's up the inside, you know, good job, Timmy. That's firm racing. It's firm racing, but he holds the position. So Timmy Hansen goes through to the final. Him and Kristoffersson maintaining that incredible run. Semi-final 2 for round 8 of the World Rallycross Championship is already on the grid, lined up and ready to go. Let's have a look at who's made the cut for this one. Petter Solberg with Toppy Heikkinen alongside him. That's Heikkinen's best qualifying this season. Solberg's managed to save a pair of brand new tyres for the semi. Sebastian Loeb and Ken Block. Ken Block's made every semi-final this year. Brilliant job by him. Timizyanov and Timo Scheider bringing up the rear. Scheider with 2 new tyres on the left. Again, that's a clockwise thing, but some discussion as to how that really works. Either way, new boots are better than used ones. And we will shortly be underway with this one as well. Thumbs up, Marshall's clear the grid. That wonderful Rallycross start procedure again. There's the noise we all love. Green light, Heikkinen's got a better start than his team boss did. Loeb's going to get blocked in behind Solberg. Solberg's going to move across. Loeb has a look up the inside. Timizyanov, Ken Block's gone wide. Watch for anybody making the cut back through turn 1. Block tries to shut the door. Loeb stands a chance here, but I think he's in behind Solberg. Solberg leads it down to turn 1. They're going to have to get in a line because it's too narrow there and just about slot in.
Timizyanov was pretty good, but actually Heikkinen did a very smart move to block Sebastian Loeb. That was just clean racing, but he had the win.
Block a little bit deep on the way into the joker there. I think he got forced out there, didn't he? He was out wide as they came out through turn 3 onto the dirt section. Kind of had to go a little bit late on the bar and ended up wide. Scheider's gone through with him. So those guys have done what Timmy did in the previous semi. I mean, they stand a chance, but they've got to get the hammer down there if they want to catch up with these guys. Look at Solberg as well. What's the gap going to be at the end of lap 1?
And this is exactly what the other drivers didn't want to see. Solberg up front, first lap, clear track in front of him. So for the other drivers, it's going to be very tough to catch Solberg.
He's absolutely flying. That Heikkinen doing well. Heikkinen's best result this season has been a 6th in the final. Hasn't made the final as much as he maybe would have liked. So Ken Block, just a word about the semi-finals. So we've got some very, very good drivers in this championship. The other three who've made every semi-final are Johan Kristoffersen, Timmy Hansen and Petter Solberg. So I think Ken Block can be really proud of that. He's got a consistently better performance than he had last year. Didn't make the semi-finals as much last year. But he'd be desperate to make it through to the final as well. He's a good driver.
And he's got such a spectacular style compared to other drivers. Like you see Kristoffersen, extremely precise, almost no movement on the steering wheel, while Ken Block is just pushing, going wide, going sideways. Crowd absolutely loves his style.
Solberg is absolutely flying. Kristoffersen's best lap was at 48.7. He's already beaten that twice, 48.6, 48.1. So Solberg's going very, very quickly.
And he needs to.
Yeah, it could be a great race between him and Johan. Yeah, but then will they be allowed to race? You know, I think there might be sensible team orders coming. In the background, everybody's running a little bit deep on the Joker car.
Yeah, it can be pretty slippery with the Joker.
And there's a little bit of loose dirt on the outside.
And remember, between the two Volkswagen, usually whoever's get the corner one with team order might stay in front. So Solberg needs to be first.
He does need to be first. It's going to come down to a race off the line. Even if he wins this, he's going to line up, I think, P2 on the grid. Kristoffersen coming out the top qualifier spot will get the other side, but it's going to come down to the start and that long run down to the wide Trois Rivières turn 1. Heikkinen still hasn't jokered. What's the gap? 3.5 to 6.9. In theory, Heikkinen could joker here and possibly make it out in front of Loeb, but it would be tight. Solberg gone early, so Solberg's gone for the joker. Heikkinen goes in with him. Heikkinen runs a bit deep too. Watch for Loeb on the inside. That's everybody not had the tiniest jokes, and Heikkinen does make it.
Yeah, for Loeb there was just nothing he could do.
So Loeb, Heikkinen and Solberg looking highly likely to be the drivers who will make it through. The others aren't too far back, but it's hard to pass here, particularly when the visibility is like that.
Loeb is very, very old. So he's weird backfire there, but Loeb usually on the asphalt section is extremely quick and he's very good on the braking, so he might have a fighting chance here.
So Loeb then looking to pass Heikkinen. This is for a spot further up the grid, remember. The top three go through, but they go through to the respective rows. So if you go through in P3, you end up on row 3. Loeb is all over the back of Heikkinen. Sebastian Loeb looking for a place to pass. He'll hope that he can pressurise Heikkinen into a move. Maybe a run wide early on the throttle. Loeb to me looks like he's got a bit more pace, but as I say, everybody seemed to run wide in the Joker, and so he couldn't manage to make the pass. You can see there, they're running up the berm of dirt, which is effectively against the wall.
Exactly, and Loeb needs to be closer in order to make a pass at the end of the straight, and right now he's got a bit too much of a gap. Is it on purpose to exit the last corner quicker? We'll see right now.
So Loeb, I don't think, is as near as he was on the previous lap. They head on to the last lap. Solberg is 6 seconds in front. This is absolutely insane. The performance gap is crazy. The other teams are going to have to do something to close this down. Timosyanov, he got a flat front left. It was looking like the car was running wide to me. Heikkinen either way is going to go through onto row 2. Sebastian Loeb looks like he's going to make it as well. So we see both the Works Peugeots through, both the Works VWs.
He really has to close that gap right now if he wants to have a chance.
Over the last jump, clear air for Solberg. Look, the car's practically clean. He hasn't had to run in any dust whatsoever. And the two-time World Rallycross champion comes over to take the checker flag in semi-final number 2. It will be an all-VW lockout on the front row in the final. Who's going to get P2? Heikkinen holds on for EKS. And Sebastian Loeb goes through to row 3. What a drive by Solberg.
Yeah, you cannot put any mistake on Solberg's side. He had a good start, a perfect run the whole time. Great job.
Timosyanov over the line with the car hampered by that puncture. And there's Petter. See, Petter quick on the in-lap, and that's to get the car back as fast as they can. They don't have long to turn it round. 6 points for Solberg, 5 for Heikkinen, 4 for Loeb. They go through to the final from semi-final 2. Ken Block misses out again. He's been P4 in the semi-finals 4 times, now 5 times this year. So 5 times just missing out in the final. Scheider and Timosyanov will go no further either here in Canada. Now back to the first corner. Have a look at this, Carl.
Pretty much perfect start for everyone. Little brake lock up for Heikkinen, and Block was really, really trying hard to make a pass there. at some point Block had to give up, but Loeb would have been in trouble with the tire wall there.
They were very sensible, weren't they? And you do tend to see that with the top guys. You know, nobody goes for anything too crazy. Block there on the outside, I don't think anywhere to go. And this is what I mean about running just a little bit deep. I wonder if they graded the track in the brakes because it just ended up with just a little bit smoother gravel. There was Block as well. Look, he must have run wide and hit the tyres.
That we haven't seen before. That explains the fact that Block was a bit slower. Of course, Häkkinen and Loeb, great fight the whole time. Loeb tried really, really hard.
Häkkinen holding on. No one, though, could touch Solberg. Solberg versus Kristoffersson for the win here in Canada.
We thought Johan's win in semi-1 was dominant, but that was incredible.
That was very good, very good. Very good, it worked really well.
Okay, so down in the holding area there. Loeb heading through to the scale. Solberg thought he was going in there. So Solberg pulls the gear. Some confusion down there. Loeb's out the car there, so lots of shouting and waving of arms. Basically the wrong car heading through to the weigh area. It doesn't matter. Solberg's happy either way. He goes through to the final. It's a brilliant result for VW for the team's title. Both cars through to the final. Again, can anyone beat them? Well, 2 races to go here in Canada. Got the RX2 final. And then, of course, we've got the final for World RX as well. We can have a look back at the semi-finals for RX2. See who the main protagonists will be for this one. So this was the first of the semis. On the left-hand side at the front is Cyril Raymond, having an absolutely brilliant season so far. You know, great job by him. And he took 2 of the qualifying sessions. Rook took the other. He just edged Rook, basically on a count-back rule because they were equal. I mean, you know, it could be a good fight between them.
Yeah, really a good fight. And don't forget that Cyril Raymond was stuck in a downpour rain during one of the heats, and it made his life extremely complicated.
Some action there from Backman, getting spun around, contact with the barriers and in. Raymond, though, in the clear out front. Taking the flag in the first semi-final. In terms of wins this year, he's had 3 compared to Dan Rook's 1. Dan Rook is in the second semi-final on pole. Black colour car on the left-hand side of your screen. He will be desperate to beat Raymond here. He's got Raymond in a couple of the qualifying sessions. Cyril Raymond's been here to Canada before 2 years ago for RX Lights Intercontinental Cup. And, you know, you'd think he might have the advantage of knowing the track, but Rook's managed to get him twice. Now, admittedly, you said one of those was due to weather, but he will like the fact that he's managed to have a little pop at it, won't he?
Yeah, it's not a typical rallycross track. Very long straight, lots of asphalt, pretty big jump on the entrance of the hippodrome section. So it's pretty tough for drivers, especially with the changing conditions that we got. It's hard for a guy like Rook to improve his car when the conditions keep changing.
That was Rook's performance to win Semi-2. These are the standings as we get to this point after Semi-Final 2 as well. So these include the points for the semi-finals. Cyril Raymond on 130 points, Dan Rook on 123. So 7 points in it. You get an extra 2 if you win compared to coming second, and you'd have to bet on these 2 guys being P1 and P2. But you know, this championship fight hopefully will go right down to the end of the season. Rook has been struggling for funding. He spent the money for the events later on in the year to come here to Canada, so hopefully he can find the money to get himself to South Africa at the end of the season. There we are, a lovely shot of a fantastic bridge here at Trois-Rivières. 3 Rivers, I believe, is the translation. Yeah, you're impressed, aren't you, with my French, eh? Now,
and you're saying Trois-Rivières the right way, so it's good.
I'm still not saying Cyril Raymond correctly, though, am I? You know, I'm not getting those names right. Ken Block's car is being re-prepared for the final. Bit of tape on the back. Sorry, he's not going in the finals. Why? He'll be the reserve, first reserve. 2 finals still to come. Well, we are waiting for the RX2 Final 2 line-up. We've got a special guest who's joined myself and Carl Nadeau up in the commentary box. Nick Hamilton's here. Nick, good to have you along. You've been racing here in Canada this weekend.
Yeah, I have, yeah. First time ever in a rallycross setting. Never driven on dirt before, so yeah, really happy to be here, and it's been a fantastic opportunity for me.
How are you finding the gravel? We've seen it's been tricky, man. You haven't had the easiest weather either.
Yeah, not at all. It's probably the worst conditions I could ever imagine for my first sort of dirt racing. We were just leading my my Q3 heat, and I sort of grip rolled and ended up putting it in the tyre barrier, but I still finished second. And we're just going to try and develop my driving skills and hopefully get better towards the end of the year.
Fantastic, thank you, Nick. Stay with us. Nick's going to stay with us for the RX2 final. We're going to have a look at the lineup for that right now. On the front row then, the two championship title fighters, Cyril Raymond and Dan Rook, France versus the UK. Row 2, Tanner Witten and Vasily Gryazin. Gryazin making his first final in RX2. Guillaume de Ridder and Simon Olofsson bringing up the rear. Now, these cars not as quick down the straight. We spoke to Kevin Hansen earlier this weekend, and he was saying how much faster. Of course, Kevin Hansen, not having been here in a supercar before, how much faster it is at the end of the straight. With Raymond and Rook, have got supercar experience. Raymond has more experience of this track. Can he put that to good use again? Rook down into turn 1. Witten looked a bit slow off the mark there. To me, he's going to lose out to de Ridder from the back row. But Dan Rook and Cyril Raymond are absolutely side by side in the run down to turn 1. Rook moves across, tries to squeeze him. But he's got to be careful here. There's opportunities for people to come up the inside. Gryazin, contact for Rook. Rook's hit, and it could drop him down to P4, maybe even worse. 4 into 1, cannot go. Dan Rook's trying so hard to hold on to 4th place, and he just gets through. The doors open on Olofsson's car at the back there. That was a tight start, Carl.
Yeah, and there was a lot of contact with the front wheel of one of the cars, the second place guy right now, and it can upset the alignment quite a bit for the rest of the race, so it's going to be hard on the tire wear also.
So Rook's been very clever from P4. He's gone into the Joker lap.
Yeah.
Nick, have you guys had a Joker lap in your race, or have you just been on the standard track?
Yeah, no, it's been Jokers as well, so interesting to learn and see these guys taking such good lines in the Joker, especially at the start of the race. So let's hope the guys that have already taken the Jokers can maximise their lap for the next.
Try and catch up a little bit in front. So Nick's done plenty of racing, of course, in the past. Joker laps and gravel all new to him. Good to have him along in Rallycross. That's where we want to see him. Raymond leading from de Ridder, Witten and Gryazin. Witten looked slow off the mark to me. Did you see at the start? Just unless it was, he obviously had it in gear, or he would have been a lot further back, but maybe a slow reaction time?
Yeah, the start happens so quick, like the slightest little mistake and you can lose at least a car length, and it makes the difference, all the difference in the world at the end of the first corner.
Tanner Witten's gone into the Joker lap, and he's managed to get down Rook, so Rook has unfortunately come out behind Witten. Witten's been quick all weekend. Where did he qualify? He qualified in 3rd place. He was 5th, 2nd and 14th in the qualifying session. So Witten's got good pace here. Hopefully won't hold Rook up too much. But it's whether or not any of them can get back to Cyril Raymond. I have to say that after all that contact into turn 2, Nick, I think they probably cost themselves a bit too much time compared to Cyril Raymond out front.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite difficult when you're in the back of the pack. You know, you always want to try and maximise the opportunity to get some places. That's the whole point of racing. You know, you've got to be as close as you can. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but it's all about regrouping, trying to do the best job you can for the rest of the race.
Do you fancy a run in an RX2 car?
Oh, I'd love to. If we've got the opportunity, it's definitely something I'd look into.
Someone needs to get Nick Hamilton the opportunity for an RX2 car. This is the official request going out now live on air, so it has to happen. But we'd love to see that. So Joker for de Ridder. De Ridder comes out in front of Witten, so this is hurting Rook. So Rook was, he's behind in the championship anyway, and now with Raymond out front, this is going to stretch that gap with only a couple of rounds left to go.
Yeah, for the championship, he's in trouble right now. He's going to push as hard as he can, but he's behind a train right now, 2 cars in front of him, so it's going to be extremely hard to set up for the pass and make them right now.
I think the other problem that Rook's got here as well is that him and Raymond are kind of in a class of their own in terms of consistency through the season. They've both been there all the while. They say, de Ridder having a look up the inside of Gryazin. Couldn't make it stick that time. And so, with only 2 rounds left to go, Cyril Raymond has got to have an absolute disaster for Rook to be able to make up what's going to be, I think, a gap of more than 10 points by the end of this race.
Yeah, it's actually a huge gap with the way the point system works. Oh, there's a lot of action and contacts there.
Rook's got 1. Is he going to get another? So Dan Rook's managed to get 1 position. He's going to try and go around the outside. De Ridder ends up in the wall. Dan Rook's in the wall. He could lose a place to Olofsson. And that is it. That could be the championship over for Dan Rook. He's spun out on the gravel. I'm looking from the top of our commentary position now, but we can't see where he is. De Ridder and Gryazin side by side. This is for P2. Tanner Witten managed to go through for P3, so Gryazin's dropped a couple of places there as well. But out front, no one has troubled Cyril Raymond. He has checked out big time, 7.8 seconds. Nick, he's going to be pleased with this, isn't he?
Oh, definitely is. basically the perfect race for him. He's just got to keep his head down. But also when you're in the lead, it's quite easy to lose focus. So you've got to make sure you can just remain focused and bring it home.
Not drop it on the final lap, that would be a disaster. There he is, and this is going to be the moment at which he's going to realise, if the spotters haven't told him already, that Rook is in the wall. So he's going to take 8 points, and Rook is only going to take 1, that's another 7. I think it's going to be 15 points clear as we leave here with only 60 points left up for grabs. So over the final jump, Cyril Raymond has just 2 right-handers to go. He's already won this season 3 times. He had a bit of a disaster in Sweden when he got a puncture. He said he was tired because he's been competing on this side of the Atlantic as well. But this time on this side of the Atlantic, it's gone perfectly. Raymond takes his 4th win of the year, and his title rival Rook is in the wall. Behind him coming down. Oh, sorry, 1 more lap to go. That's my bad looking at the timing screen. So Raymond then's got another lap to go. I got too excited.
You know what? Raymond is probably pretty relaxed. I'm sure his spotter told them way before that Rook was in the wall, and that he was blocking the track also. So you don't want the driver to take a chance and go flat out in the corner where somebody's in the wall. Of course, there's a yellow flag, but on top of that, spotter told them to slow down for sure.
Through the right-hander on the left, myself a lap ahead. Apologies at home, there you go, that's the way it goes sometimes. Either way, it's going to be the same result, isn't it? And it's absolutely massive. Poor old Dan Rook spent all the money that he was going to spend later in the year to come here, and possibly it hasn't gone the right way. I do hope that we'll see him able to continue his championship year. This time he takes a checkered flag. We have to wait 1 lap longer than I thought. But Rook has done it, and that'll be a popular win here. French Canadians like it when French people win, don't they?
Actually, they like when great driver wins.
So they don't mind.
They've been cheering a lot for Solberg over the past year, and Hansen. Everybody loves the Hansen family here. So
Misfire for Gryazin as he comes past us in the commentary position. Raymond jumps out the car and heads up onto the roof. Nick Hamilton, that's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the best feeling you could ever wish for, being a racing driver, especially winning in the way he did. He sort of checked out and showed his class, and it's just going to be the best weekend you can ever wish for, especially for the championship.
Yeah, absolutely ideal for him, not so ideal for Dan Rook. There's the result. Look, Cyril Raymond takes the win with it. Those 8 points. Guram de Ridder second. Tanner Witten. Gryazin with a misfire down in P4. Olofsson P5. Dan Rook in the wall. 1 point. And 7 points down on Raymond, unfortunately. We can take a look at some of the replays, hopefully, from this one in a moment. The drivers head back towards the grid. That was Witten's slow start. Nick, did that look like reaction time to you? What did you think?
You never know. I think it's always quite difficult with your reaction times, especially into the final. But you can see with him, we're not going to see it, but we can see when Dan Rook turns in, sort of loses a lot of momentum, and then he's in the back of the pack, which is quite hard for him to then pick up as he moves along.
In terms of picking up from a result like this, where he's obviously into the wall, there's two to go. This was it where he ended up in the wall. We've got 2 rounds to go, 60 points, but he's 15 points back. And with Raymond being on such good form, how does he pick himself up and go to the next event feeling positive?
Well, every time you get out of the car and focusing on the next weekend straight away, it's all about being positive. Especially if you get the budget and the money to get back into the car, you just got to regroup. And he's got nothing to lose and all to gain. So Cyril's under a lot of pressure. He can't make any mistakes into the last couple of races this year. So, big up to Dan Rook and see if he can get back on circuit.
Fingers crossed, we hope so. There's Cyril Raymond jumping up onto the roof, giving the crowd the whoop. There it is then. So it's actually a 14-point gap. So Raymond's ahead of Rook by 14 points. Everybody else in a race look for P3. De Ridder, Witten, Nilsson, Olofsson are all within reach of that. So there's 2 rounds still to go. This is Rallycross, and it can happen. They're getting ready for the final. Neil Cole is down there. Some are amongst them.
Petter, we tried to have a word before, but there was some confusion at the weighbridge. That was impressive in the semi-final. Now you're alongside Johan for the final. What's the strategy?
Well, I first wanted to do the first corner and try to get through that best as possible and do my best. I need a good start for sure if I'm going to beat him. And if you're side by side, then it's so many other things that can happen, so it's difficult to judge. But I will do everything I can anyway. Yeah.
Good luck.
6 cars being re-prepped. Of course, 3 of them very quickly because they were in semi-final number 2. Carl, this is a tough turnaround, isn't it, really? It's, you know, it's not easy to come in like Petter has. And that, of course, is why he did this long lap so quickly. They've got to get ready very quickly.
Yeah, it's tough. That's why Peter Solberg wanted to go right away to weight the car and work on it.
Get back in there. Niels with Timmy.
Timmy, your record of making the finals, very good. And don't forget, you won here last year. What's the strategy?
Well, I think the best strategy is to have no strategy.
Is everything all right with the car right now?
Yeah, it will be an interesting final. I've made a good comeback so far. So polos in front are fast, but nothing is impossible in Rallycross.
Good luck, thank you.
Okay, so Timmy Hansen there saying best strategy is no strategy, and then to me, he couldn't hear what Neil was saying, and you could see he put a hand up to the helmet, which is sort of universal sign language for being spoken to on the radio. So Timmy getting a few messages on the radio there. Look at the 2 VWs getting themselves ready to line up on the grid. Kristoffersen into place first. Remember, the first left-hander is just a tiny little kink off the line. They don't take it on any other lap. And then we've got the long run down the straight. Solberg, I think Solberg's one slot over too far, is he? Let's have a look at the grid either way. On the front row, Johan Kristoffersen, the championship leader. Next to him is teammate and the double world champion, Petter Solberg. Row 2, Topi Heikkinen having a great weekend. Timmy Hansen, last year's winner here. Row 3, Kevin Eriksson and Sebastian Loeb. So Solberg did move across one grid slot. Heikkinen's going to line up on the second row in between them. Timmy over on the outside. Carl, what's the tactic down into turn 1 here? Because we know the VWs are fast. They're going to stay out of each other's ways. Might mean they might play it a bit safe. What do you do if you're Timmy?
Actually, you got to go all in the first corner. I think usually we always say you cannot win a race in corner 1, but if you leave the Volkswagen up front after the first lap, you're just going to settle for third.
I like the phrase all in. So all in, everything on red, basically.
You got to go. If you have to lock the wheel, just lock the wheel, but try something in corner 1.
Eriksson lines up. I don't think we're going to be seeing any around the outside stuff here. Well, I mean, you know, turn 1's wide. Loeb look into reverse to get the car ready just to make sure he can do a straight tyre warm. They don't want too much lock on here with all that power. They can end up, of course, you know, breaking something in the transmission. So that's why they reverse the car and get it straight. See the jump start sensor. So the stick should effectively be on the front of the car. Loeb pulls it right up to it. Gives you 12 centimetres, I believe the measurement is. Marshall's all well drilled by now. This is their last World Rallycross race this year. We're coming back to Canada again next year.
And remember, last year nobody would have bet $20 on Timmy Hansen, and he won the event, so you never know.
He will fight hard if he gets the opportunity to be out in front, and if he does, of course, that's going to be very tricky for Volkswagen in terms of what they do for strategy with joker laps and so on.
Right now, Kristoffersen and Solberg hope for a perfect start because that's their only weakness so far this year.
It is, you're right. We've had a stall in Barcelona for Kristoffersen. We had a stall in Sweden for Solberg. They're getting better and better at it, but those RPM have just got to be right. Listen to that on the grid. We've got one car still being recovered out on the track. I'm assuming that is going to be Dan Rook. It is Dan Rook. So out on the far side on the gravel section, Rook's car is being dragged up onto a low loader. Obviously, we wouldn't leave it there anyway. There's the clamshell bonnet out on the road, rear engine, remember. Rook looks disappointed, doesn't he?
Hopefully for his budget there's not going to be too much damage, but from the look of it, it looks pretty bad on top of the hit from another car that hit his car from behind. So front and rear damage, usually it doesn't sound good for budget.
No. Team Farren running that car. That's Eric Farren's team that he set up this year to run an RX2 car. Eric Farren, of course, you will be familiar with if you're a long-time viewer. He's co-commentary for us. He's competed in World RX. I think he was runner-up in the Swedish Rallycross Championship with a Peugeot. And he's Sebastian Loeb's spotter as well as being a technician. So he's a good lad. I don't know how he manages to fit in running an RX2 car as well, but they've done a great job of picking that car up and making sure it runs well for Rook. He's been able to challenge Raymond, who's been in the car for a couple of seasons. This is the one they all want to see, isn't it? They're being made to wait for it, as are we. Apologies for the delay. We'll have that car off the track just as soon as we possibly can. At least it's not raining, Carl.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very, very tough for the teams also, because yesterday all the teams were struggling. What do? Do we change the setup? Do we stick to a dry setup? Hopefully it's going to be dry tomorrow. How can we improve the car? They're testing the track. Some drivers didn't know the track that much. So it's very, very tough for the team. There was a lot of discussions yesterday.
Air defenders on for the kids. Yeah, we're on the telly. Go on, lads. Great stuff.
And I know this guy.
Do you? You know him? Can't you know everyone? How can you know the random guy in the grandstand? Seriously, he knows everyone.
Who would have thought?
People wrapped in blankets there on the left-hand side. It is cold today. It is cold, particularly when your commentary box is an easy-up shelter on the roof of a building. It's been pretty chilly up here during the course of the day. How's this for the drivers as well? Because this is a very long time to sit in the car contemplating the run down to turn one.
It's a long time, but the good thing is it's not 30 degrees and humid outside. So with that kind of temperature, it's no big deal. You can sit in the car. It's just keep the concentration and everything. Yeah, that was weird.
That is it. I gave Carl a look which said, "Why are they recovering the car like that?" And he agrees. That was weird. So
maybe the suspension or something is too broken and it's hard to put it on the flatbed. So
seems very strange. Either that or they're listening to our commentary. They know that much as though we're disappointed for Dan Rook, we would very much like it if they clear the track for us and allow us to get this round 8 final underway.
Just to reassure spectators home, that's not how we tow cars in Canada.
Yeah,
usually.
If you're coming to Canada and you break down, we can do it better than that.
Yeah, the 4 wheels will be on the flatbed, I swear.
Somebody's going to have words later on. Or is that a FaceTime call going on there? Is it a selfie? It's a bit close for a selfie, isn't it? You know, technique's all wrong.
A no selfie, that's trendy. It's coming.
That's cool, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so first we have strange flatbed recoveries. Now we have different selfies. It's all different here in Canada.
It's going to catch up soon in
Europe.
Yeah,
you reckon? I've been coming here for 4 years. I'm still learning. Still learning. Right, let's get this show on the road. We are ready for the final of round 8 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Marshals are clear of the grid. Flick those switches, pull those gears. Here we go, ready to race. Both the VW's going away. This is a good start by Haken in the background too. Solberg's got an edge on Christopherson, but the big one is the turn at the end of the straight, the right-hander. Look at the power down the straight. Christopherson's going to get turned in first. What's going to happen behind one of these guys? Is going to be desperate to try and slot in when these two have to go into a line. Christopherson gets the jump down. Oh, it's going to be close in the background. Lowe just managed to get in front of Hansen. And it's Kevin Eriksson who ends up P6.
Actually, Solberg had to give up at some point, but he did the whole corner 1 completely side by side with Christopherson. So that was a very, very tight corner 1.
I wonder what Christopherson was thinking as he went through the left-hander onto the straight. Solberg had just ended him, hadn't he? And then he evened out as they got down the straight down to turn 1. But do they split the Joker strategy here? Is it too dangerous here? Do you just go for P1 and P2?
I don't think at this point it's hard to have a team strategy, because I think both drivers will just go for it.
Hakkinen, we're hearing, has won the Monster Energy Supercharger. What do you see that at the bottom of your screen? That is reaction time, 0.384 is his reaction off the lights, so very quick indeed. He did get a good start, but not quite good enough. Hakkinen's best result this year has been 6th in the final, so at the minute he's in P3. But watch for Loeb and Eriksson in the background. Those guys are taking their Jokers already. Top left, and Solberg goes Joker now. Solberg's gone for a different strategy. Where's he going to end up? So Hansen's in front, but he gets Loeb, and Hakkinen comes in alongside Loeb. So Hakkinen's got Loeb as well. So Loeb, first lap Joker, hasn't quite worked out. And now this is going to be about Solberg trying to get the hammer down to catch up to Christopherson. But whereabouts is he? Is he in behind Hansen? Because if he is, it could be game over. There's the dust. What do you think?
It's so dusty at this section. It's hard to tell. But personally, if I'm Solberg, I would have waited a bit more to Joker. Basically, I'd rather be behind Christopherson and flying on the track than risk to be caught in traffic.
I wonder if it's a sign of how much Solberg would like to win it. See, through the right, absolutely Absolutely fantastic sound from these cars up and over the jump. Okay, Kristoffersen's gone now, so Kristoffersen's gone defensive on the Joker, and he's going to come out where he comes out alongside Hansen. And he's now in behind Hansen too, so Hansen's got a Joker, but Kristoffersen's got Solberg, and that was the key to this.
Exactly, but that was too close for comfort. Kristoffersen, he really had to back off to make sure Hansen was going clear in front of him.
So everybody is joking except for Timmy Hansen out front in the Peugeot, but you can see already the VWs have made up the gap to him. The only thing this does do is makes it a little bit more difficult for the two VWs to gap everyone by a mile. So when Hansen Jokers, they will be out in front again. They're not going to be able to stretch their legs like maybe they might. Timmy then will be looking at whether or not he can get a podium ahead of Sebastian Loeb. At the minute it's 5.5 seconds, so Timmy, it could go now and release the VWs, and he does.
And Solberg never gave up. He's really, really close to Kristoffersen, so at the first slightest mistake, I think Solberg's going to go for it.
Okay, well, let's hope for a race then right the way through to the flag. Carl Nadeau called it. These two guys are very, very close. There's that tricky left-hander. Those concrete barriers are much tighter than they were last year.
Yeah, exactly. They changed the layout a little bit. And by the way, Kristoffersen doesn't do mistakes, so Solberg's going to hope for it, but it's very, very tough.
Kristoffersen is so cool, isn't he? I mean, you met him this weekend, and he's just super calm and focused. And Solberg, you see, moves across, shows himself in the mirrors. What's that? Just saying, well, here.
Typical road racing maneuver where you fill both mirrors and you make the other driver think that you might go on the side of the other. But I don't think Kristoffersen's going to be fayed by that. And by the way, corner 2, the wall is much softer than it used to be. So for drivers, it really helps to try to outbrake someone from corner 2.
Solberg running all the way across the road there. Wheels out into the dirt, up against the edge of the barrier. I don't think anybody else is going to stop Kristoffersen. He's still got a couple of laps to go. And we've got a car going slowly out in the infield. It looks like Timmy Hansen, is it? It is. Timmy Hansen's pulled over. So it's game over for Hansen. That's a real shame. There's a little bit of undercowling hanging out the bottom of the car. He's off the racing line, so it's not going to affect this one. Kristoffersen versus Solberg. Now the gap is up to a second.
Yeah, Kristoffersen stepped it up quite a bit.
48.1 for Kristoffersen, 48.6 the previous day. So he's taken 3/4 tenths out of Solberg, hasn't he, over the last 2 laps, and just put himself out in front. Kristoffersen races so much that it's not a distraction, is it, having another car behind him?
No, I don't think he's going to see any difference. And it's you can see a talented driver when he needs to step it up and be quicker for 3/10, and he just does it.
Kristoffersen has got just 2 corners to go. He's having an outrageous season. He has made the final every single time. He's had 6 podiums in a row. That was the record in the World Rallycross Championship, but it is a new record. 7 podiums in a row, and he can celebrate it standing on the top step. Kristoffersen wins in Canada. Solberg is P2, and Sebastian Loeb is P3. But Kristoffersen is absolutely killing it. What a drive, Carl. You know, that's surely the world champion. We've got 4 to go. 4 to go. There's 120 points up for grabs. I know anything can happen, but you saw the pressure there from Solberg. No mistakes.
Kristoffersen is so precise. He doesn't know every move he does is the exact right move. He doesn't overturn the steering wheel.
Kristoffersen takes the win from Solberg and Sebastian Loeb. Kevin Eriksson, Heikkinen look with the Monster Energy Supercharger Award down in P5. Timmy Hansen, unfortunately, DNF, but still gets a point for his efforts. Brilliant job by the 2 VWs. That's going to extend their lead in the Teams Championship too. There we go, thumbs up from Timmy to Sebastian Loeb as well. We can have a look back at the replays from the final. Hopefully that's going to include the run down to turn 1, so we'll be able to see just how close it was. So this was off the line. Heikkinen did get a really good start, didn't he? He was right up behind here, and this was the point I thought with Solberg on the outside that maybe someone would have been able to get in, but you wonder if they said let's run together so nobody can get in.
And yeah, they gave each other perfect racing room, just enough gap between the cars, and Solberg just gave up at the right time for corner 2, so it was just perfect.
Heikkinen and Loeb at the merge. Loeb was unlucky there, just lost out a tiny bit, but it's been a good performance by Heikkinen. Ended up P5 in the end. I wonder if he had a problem. Did he have one slow lap? Yeah, he did. It looks like he had problems towards the His lap time's dropped off into the 52s. Heikkinen just looking up at my timing screen. That was Kristoffersen and Hansen. Hansen knew he was on the inside. They must have radioed him for that. Surely a nice bit of respect there as well between the two.
Yeah, exactly. And Kristoffersen just backed enough so the two cars can slide. That was perfect.
Synchronised drifting there between the two VWs. This was Hansen at the moment at which he retired. You can see there in the background, Heikkinen not at full pace. This man was. He was absolutely flying. We do 48.2, 48.6, 48.1. He was banging in the hot laps. The fireworks went off for Kristoffersen. Another incredible performance. It's his 4th win of the year. The record for wins is 5 in one season. That's held by Solberg. He's just broken Solberg's podium record run. Niels with Tommy. Kristoffersen now.
Tommy, tell us what was going on up here in the spotters tower during that final, because it looked quite hectic.
No, it was not really clear if Lööf take the joker on the first lap, so it was a little chaotic there before we sorted out that he haven't been in there. So, but otherwise it looks good. We get a good start and we can control it pretty good. So it was great.
And you must be pretty proud of Johan, and what a run of results he's on.
Yeah, it's marvelous now. It's so great to be in this great team and to be a small part of it and follow him and doing this great job. So, and for us to make a double here in Canada is perfect. It's challenging, weather condition, dry, wet. So we are so happy with this.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.
Tommy very pleased, as calm as his son is. They are very much in command of the World Rallycross Championship in 2017. The fans are staying put because there's lots more support racing for them to come here on site. We've had quad bikes and motocross, side-by-sides that Nick Hamilton's been competing in. We've had the Mitsubishis and Subarus that Oliver Solberg's been in, so lots of action still to come for them. Well, there is Johan Kristoffersen, the winner of round 8 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. It's his 4th win this season. He's broken the podium run record. He's absolutely on it. Look, rides down to the finish area, Parc Fermé, parks the car up, and he's extremely pleased with that. Nick Hamilton is still up in the commentary box with us here. Nick, is this the first World Rallycross event you've been to?
No, I went to Linden Hill a couple of years ago, so it's not the first time. But yeah, especially with the new liveries and new drivers for this year, it's a lot for me to learn, but I'm taking it in as I go along.
We're going to have a little look at the championship standings in just a moment. There's Solberg with a quick hug for his teammate. Loeb and Solberg, you can hear the crowd going nuts for them. The photographers, though, are after Kristoffersen. And that is why, because he's leading the World Rallycross Championship by even more than he was before. It was 31 points before. I'm terrible at maths, but it looks like 35 now. Ekstrom still holds on to P3. Loeb is still in P4. Hansen moves up ahead of Backrud. That's because Backrud didn't make the semi-finals this week. His teammate Ken Block did, and he stays in 7th. Kevin Eriksson was in the final. He's up to 8th. So good job for him. But Kristoffersen and Solberg in control, particularly Kristoffersen. Drivers heading up towards the podium. Fans can't quite get across that zone because it's right in the middle of the grass there. Carl, can anyone stop this man? I don't think they can, personally.
This year is pretty much unbeatable. And by the way, how many championship is there between those 3 drivers on the podium? Yeah. It's insane.
It's impressive, isn't it? It's very, very impressive. Well, you've just seen Kristoffersen running over behind the podium. And he was running because he's gone to meet Neil Cole, who he is with right now.
Johan Kristoffersen, what an incredible run of results you've been having. To win in Canada is a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's such a great result for the team. We've been working so hard, and it's just a team effort. I mean, to be P1, P2, Petter drove excellent in the semifinals. I was okay, he's quick, so I tried to save some tires in the semifinal. And then down drag race down to the first corner, 2 VWs. Was just amazing, and 30 points, great.
Perfect weekend, well done.
Thank you.
Well, he's very happy. Solberg will be too, and this is why. Look at that. It's over 100 points, the gap between PSRX, Volkswagen Sweden, and Team Peugeot Hansen, who have now managed to stretch the advantage over EKS, Hoonigan Racing Division, MJP Racing, Team Austria, and Team Stard. Very impressive indeed. Very ominous for the others, of course. Nick, this is a super team, isn't it? Solberg and Kristoffersen.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, obviously with VW now coming on board, car looks very, very strong, and yeah, it's great to see them both taking first and second, and hopefully they can keep it up.
You've said you'd like to go in an RX2 car. I suspect I don't need to ask if you'd like to go in a supercar, really, do I, mate?
Yeah, I might ask Petter to see what he can give me, but yeah, no, definitely. If the opportunity arises, 100%.
Can I borrow your supercar? If he says yes, give us a shout. If there's any spare laps, I'll have a go.
I will do.
I'll have a go. Have you enjoyed driving on gravel?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to learn for me, as I said. But you know, you just improve as a driver here. You know, it's great to have the opportunity and enjoy the weekend, especially in Canada.
Nick's is not going to say it, but I talked with the organizer, and you impressed everyone on the track, and they want you back in Canada for full gravel rallies.
Thanks so much.
That'd be great to see you back over here. There we are. It's a hug for Johan from the Monster Energy Girls. He picks up the big trophy and he edges towards the bigger one. P2 for Petter Solberg and P3 for Sebastian Loeb. Two VWs are up there again. Of course, it hasn't really gone Solberg's way the last couple of events, but this time the perfect result for them. P1 and P2 in qualifying, P1 and P2 at the end of the weekend. There we are. Perfect score for Kristoffersen, 30 points. And here's something which he's very used to indeed. So great job by Johan Kristoffersen. He takes the win here in round 8. It's a commanding lead in the championship. Champagne shower for him and Solberg. I suspect there'll be a few beers on the main street down in Trois-Rivières tonight. Carl Nadeau, thanks for joining us. You enjoyed your weekend?
Real pleasure. I just love the sport. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you along. Thank you as well to Nick Hamilton for joining us on air. We really appreciate it. It's another win for Johan Kristoffersen. He will be leaving here with an absolutely huge advantage. We're heading to France next. I think it's in 4 weeks' time. Sebastian Loeb on the right-hand side will be very popular there. We'll have 70,000 fans for round 9. Don't miss it. We'll see you then.